う決めたことだ。
Mayuri had stopped her once before. And once again, she hesitated for just another instant. On the battlefield, that instant can decide your fate. She took a quick look around again. And then she froze. No, not motorcycle mask woman. Mixed in with the men in camo was a girl in a dark motorcycle suit and helmet. Oh yeah, Kagura, the one I hate. Was it Kagura who had leaked this place's location to them? She was well aware of Kagura's abilities after their 2 battles. If she wasn't completely in control of herself, she'd be killed instantly. She talked to herself.
私が生き残るのは諦めざるを得ないな。
How many would she have to take with her in order to give Mayuri a chance to escape? Right now, the only thing she could afford to think about was getting Mayuri back to Okabe Rintaro. But just when she'd made her decision, she felt Kagura staring down at her, or more precisely, the blood dripping down Mayuri's forehead. And just after that, Kagura did something she hadn't expected at all. That wasn't me, that was them. No one can hear you over the crazy music. There was a scream. No, it was the howl of an enraged beast. This music's pretty legit, though. And then the slaughter began. Kagura grabbed the second-in-command's head with her left hand. With her right, she steadied her rifle. After she fired, there was very little left of his head. The rest of him dropped to the ground. She slammed the piece of tattered flesh that had once been a man's head to the ground, and with no warning at all, leaped from one screaming man to another. She fired her gun into every one of them. And they're just like letting you do this? No one can hear you, Kagura. Take off the face mask. Even when her targets were already soaked in a sea of blood, she kept firing until their limbs were blown apart into unrecognizable rags. Some of them tried shooting her to protect themselves, but no matter where she was struck, Kagura didn't even flinch. When her magazine ran dry, she drew forth a long military-style cleavers. What? Holding one of them in each hand, she used them in her military combat training to slaughter anyone she saw. Their entrails were scattered all over the twilight rooftop, covering her whole body in blood and bits of flesh. Suzawa held Mayuri's head tight to her chest. Mayuri was shaking from fear, but she did as she was told, and clamped her hands down over her ears. Even so, she could probably still hear the sounds of rippling flesh and shattering bone. Or ripping. Even Suzawa had gone stone cold in shock. During all her time in combat, she'd never seen a one-sided slaughter like this. What am I looking at right now? Oh, I'm looking at her legs with the dead bodies on the ground. She'd experienced this when they'd fought, but Kagura seemed to feel no fear or pain. She simply focused all her energy on killing her opponent. It was often said that humans unconsciously avoided using all their muscle power to protect their own bodies. But Kagura seemed to lack that capability. Just now, she'd stabbed a man who turned to run from her in the back, then tossed his huge body to the ground with only a single arm. Then she kicked his stomach from below and ruptured his organs, killing him. Do you want to entirely surround her and fire? You're going to shoot each other. Finally, after several, perhaps a dozen or more of the men had been killed, what remained of the squad started to scream orders at one another. With terrifying reflexes, she dodged between their shots and brutally murdered several more. But at last, a hail of gunfire struck her left hand, and the knife she was holding fell to the floor. No, that wasn't it. It wasn't the knife that fell, it was her entire left hand. Good accuracy. The shock caused her body to stagger back. Someone screamed, in a voice that lacked any of the pride and bravery a soldier is supposed to possess. Several more bullets dug into her body. Parts of the motorcycle suit ripped open, and the helmet cracked. Blood that was clearly her own, not that of the men she killed, began to pour out. At last, she fell into a pile of corpses.
Yes!
This went badly, men. They must have thought they finally had her. One of the survivors pointed his gun down to finish her, and just as he was about to pull the trigger, Kagura, no one can hear your screams. Her bestial roar and the man's terrifying scream overlapped in a horrible cacophony. You thought I was dead, but it was me, Dio! She forced herself to leap up and brought the back of the remaining cleaver down on his arm, knocking him back. An instant later, the knife slit his throat and ended his life. We thought we had her, boys. It's time to run away. The survivors began to flee in terror. But she killed one more man. That's it. That's all we got. Where are we at time-wise? I think we're at about 40 minutes. So let's keep going for a bit. I'm already committed to doing a second part. It's not like my Yuri's caught in a gunfight or anything. Nothing to worry about. Man, Okabe's gonna show up and see all that blood, and he's gonna have like flashbacks. It's gonna be great. Oh, and he's gonna see my Yuri, and she's gonna be bloody too. And he's just gonna like pass out. When I reached the radio building, I realized that many people in the crowd of pedestrians were holding their phones up to the sky. You know, they didn't hear any gunshots or anything. There's evidently no service near the station either. I took a moment to catch my breath as I looked up at the radio building. Ah, okay. I could hear what sounded like a distant explosion. It wasn't just one. The explosions were coming in a series. Several of the people around me were glancing at their surroundings, confused by these unfamiliar sounds. And then I realized that was gunfire. I remembered the sounds I'd heard during the battle between CERN's Rounders and the Russian military. The sounds were coming from the roof of the radio building. Had I not made it in time? I ran into the radio building. For some reason, the elevator was under maintenance. It always is, isn't it? And turned off. I had no choice but to take the stairs. My heart was pounding so fast that I thought it would burst, and I tripped several times due to how tense I was. I stumbled again and again on the stairs. How many times had I come up these stairs feeling like this? Cursing my lack of endurance, I headed for the top floor. When I got to the 7th floor, I ran into someone I'd hoped I wouldn't see. No, my guess was that I'd run into them was right. I wished that I wasn't, but... Hey, it's Dr. Leskinen!
Yeah, Rintaro.
How you doing, buddy, old pal?
Masaka konna ni hayaku kimi ga kuru to wa omowanakatta yo.
Dr. Leskinen seemed perturbed when he saw my face.
どうしてここに
少し落ち着きなさい。そんなに息が切れていたのでは話もできないよ。
どうしてここにいるんです。アマデウスはどうなったんです。
君に頼んだサンプリングテストは半年前に終わっている。話すことはできないな。
That was his answer. Even though Amadeus had disappeared, Leskinen was extremely calm. There was no sign of him trying to deal with the problem. And instead of being in his office, he was here. That was all I needed to know. Ah, good.
俺に送ってきたメッセージの内容は
Okabe sees him for the porcelain Scandivan he is. The father that she'd spoken of was Leskinen after all.
クリスや魔法どうしたんです。彼女たちの記憶データを解析してタイムマシンに関するデータを取り出すつもりなんでしょう。
It's gonna be real embarrassing if you're wrong, though. I gotta say.
驚いたな。クリスはそこまで君に話してしまったのか。監視していたつもりだったが、いつの間にそんな真似を。
Leskinen seemed truly shocked, which meant he hadn't noticed that Kurisu was an at-channeler, or that she'd spoken to me there. Yeah, I was gonna say, you're not getting out of this alive, Okabe. I'm sure Dr. Leskinen has a gun somewhere. And then Leskinen took out a gun and pointed it at me. Who would have guessed? You know too much, kid. Guess we're gonna have to brainwash you. Without any soap.
あなたは何者なんだ。
科学者だよ。
I gotta say, Leskinen, like, this is the first time Leskinen actually looks pretty cool, though. Most of the other shots, he just looks kind of way too white-skinned and, like, strange, but this, he actually looks pretty cool right here.
だが、科学者も実践授業ではないのでね。君はストラテジックフォーカス社というアメリカの民間情報機関を知っている。
Have you heard of the strategic focus?
ストラテジックフォーカス。
Strategic focus.
アメリカのストラトフォーカ。
I'd read about them on a conspiracy theory website. I remembered reading that they'd acquired top secret information on rustic ballistic missiles that even the CIA couldn't get, and then sold it. The result was the destruction of the CIA's reputation. And at the same time, the total reorganization of Russia's military strategy. I'd even heard rumors that during the Gulf and Iraq wars, they'd obtained information about the warring countries faster than anyone, and spread it as needed.
世界から影の CIA などと呼ばれている
CIA.
私たちだよ。
So he was going to use Amadeus for military purposes? Was everything he'd said at that seminar just platitudes and lies?
まあ、私のことはどうでもいいだろう。それよりリンタロウ、勝美から聞いたのだが、君も例の新型脳炎を発症しているそうだね。それどころか、新型脳炎そのもののメカニズムについて何か知っているらしい。
I feel like we're gonna get brainwashed here.
実に興味深い。 君の持つその情報をぜひ提供してくれないか。何簡単な施術を受けてくれるだけでいいんだ。
Just wash your brain.
そうすれば私は君を助手として迎え
Be
入れ
nice
て
and
もいい。
use the soap this time. I don't know why that just makes me laugh. For some reason, my whole body broke out in goosebumps at the word procedure. The Dr. Leskin and I knew. The man with the childlike, mischievous heart and deep scientific curiosity. The man who'd been so kind to me, the man I'd respected, was gone. In his place was the cruel scientific fundamentalist, who thought nothing of human lives or hearts as he pointed a gun at me. Or was this who he truly was? Suddenly, he seemed like a very terrifying unknown.
どうかな？
He took a step towards me. And then... another fierce gunfight broke out above. Leskinen clicked his tongue at the sound. He glanced towards the stairs.
なぜ銃撃戦になっているんだ。穏便に済ませるとあれほど。
You didn't hear the gunfire before? Maybe one of them just misfired. My bad, guys. Shot the gun. You know how it is. Yeah, go Okabe! Don't get shot! I took advantage of the distraction. Luckily, I was still on the staircase. He doesn't have the high ground anymore. I tackled his legs as hard as I could, and he lost his balance and fell. He hit his head hard on one of the steps, and after a moment's jerk, stopped moving at all. He might be dead. But I didn't care anymore. I'd become a murderer many times over already. When did you actually murder people? Did he murder people? I guess he, murdered their dreams and he let them die, but I don't know if Okabe necessarily killed anyone himself. Unless I'm forgetting something. I don't know. When I opened the door, I saw what was a vision from the heart of hell itself. There was blood everywhere. In bodies, too.
なんだ
Flashback City! In the middle of the sea of blood was a girl in a motorcycle suit and helmet, covered in crimson as she lay on the ground. But the good news is we don't care about her, so that's alright. She held a giant cleaver. I could see instantly that she was responsible for this disaster. Her shoulders moved up and down a little, so evidently she was still alive. I approached the woman, trying my best not to throw up from the stench.
大丈夫ママ
Alright, this is another cool CG. I like this one a lot. I could hear her voice from beneath the cracked, broken helmet. I looked closer and saw that some of the blood was her own. Her body was racked by bullet wounds, and her left hand was completely gone. It was a miracle that she had somehow survived all of that. She didn't seem to notice me as I slowly crawled through the blood. I followed her gaze, and you know what's gonna happen, right? Leskinen's gonna come in a minute and ruin our plans, right? That's what's gonna happen. I just came to the realization of that. I should have seen it earlier, but that's totally what's gonna happen. And I don't think Okabe even took his gun, so he's gonna still have a gun. This is terrible. I followed her gaze and saw my Yuri huddled beneath the time machine. Suza seemed to be unhurt, but there was blood on my Yuri's face. Just a little bit. I hadn't expected to see her here, and I was worried about her wound, but more than anything, I was glad she was safe. She raised her face when she heard my voice. But the next moment, her eyes locked on the girl in the motorcycle suit. She saw the thing crawling towards her and screamed.
ママママ違うの
Well, Kagura,
だって
you finally were useful.
かがりは本 本当は人殺しなんてするつもりじゃなくって、ただママを守ろうとして。
You killed all the bad guys, and you even had the common courtesy to take yourself out in the process. I love it. Kagura? Did she say Kagura? It was only then that I realized that the girl in the motorcycle suit was the Shina Kagura that Suza had been looking for. Suza yelled, unable to take anymore. I mean, she's gonna die anyway. Let's be real here. At last, her strength failed and she collapsed. Am I looking at a close-up butt shot here? I think I am. I returned to my senses and ran to her before Suza could get there. Are you okay? Her breathing was wheezy and shallow. One of the bullets had probably pierced her lungs. I thought taking off her helmet would help her breathe, so I put my hand on it to remove it, but she grabbed my hand and pushed it away. Her voice, and the way she talked. I realized who this girl called Shina Kagura was. I looked close and saw I recognized her face. I quickly motioned to Suza to keep her distance. Is that Kagura? She looked upset, but did as I asked. She went back to Mayuri and started to look at her wounds. Mayuri was covering her face and trying not to look at the bodies. Not deep. I relaxed a little when I heard that. Oh, you mean the wound. I thought you meant the floor of bodies. Why is your hair white? Kagura's voice was a whisper as I cradled her in my arms. And then she slowly closed her eyes. Her breathing got weaker. Kill all the people. Do it, Kagura, and I will love you. And your mother will too.
本物は本当に何も知らない。
教授だって。
Did she mean...
この世界線では本当は来年なんですよ。橋田さんと本物が出会うのは。
Kagura opened her eyes a little once more and looked towards the time machine, towards Mayuri and Suzaha.
大丈夫。
Wait, is this Yuki?
本物も橋田さんのこと好きになります。
Yeah, that's Yuki's voice, right? Is this Yuki? I think.
私と同じように。
Or is this future Yuki? I'm a little confused, to be perfectly honest.
言っちゃった。誰にも内緒ですよ。
And this time, her smile still shining in her eyes. They closed for real. With one final shudder, the strength left her body. Her life faded away in my hands. There was so much I wanted to ask her. Why had she appeared before us using that name? There were so many things I didn't understand. But Shina Kaguri's life ended in that moment. Oh yeah, she's great. She's dead now. The best way for her to be. I came back to my senses when I heard her voice. If I told her about Kaguri's death, it would cause her a lot of mental stress. I'm still really confused about that whole thing. Was that actually Kaguri? Was that Yuki? Like, that end part sounded like it was Yuki, and the voice sounds like Yuki. But I don't understand what he meant about the real ones, like, in an exchange program. Unless the real Yuki that's been here the whole time isn't the real Yuki? I'm honestly very confused right now. And I don't think I even read that line, so let me read that last line really quick. If I told her about Kaguri's death, it would cause her a lot of mental stress. Oh wait, that wasn't the last line. I forgot, they don't put the line on the screen in the log. That wasn't a good idea right now. I needed to do something about the time machine as fast as possible. I slung Kaguri's bloody body around my shoulder and stood up. I told you Leskin's coming back, and he's got a gun! Before I could open the door, a huge shadow appeared from within. He wasn't dead? But he must have taken a lot of damage to the head, because his face was the color of clay, and one of his eyes wasn't focusing. Isn't his face normally the color of clay?
すぐにここは戦場になる。アメリカもロシアも日本も動き出してしまった。一度回り出した歯車はもう止められない。カガリがもっと早く我々に報告していれば、ここまで事態は悪化することもなかったもの。
Leskinen knew about Kaguri? Which meant that I was right. But Suzaha spoke before I could.
そうか。お前が教授か。カガリを洗脳したのはお前だな。
そうなんですか。あなたはそういう人だったんですか。
別にこの私が何かしたわけじゃない。
Leskinen didn't try to deny it.
むしろ10年ほど前、路頭に迷っていた彼女を助けて、ここまで育つよう援助してあげたんだよ。
援助って普 通に生活してたら彼女がこんな風になるはずないじゃないか。
そんなに怒鳴らないでくれないか。頭が割れそうにいたもんだ。嘘じゃない。彼女は自分の方から私に接触してきた。整形までしてこの町に潜り込んだのも彼女のプランだよ。何でも頭の中の神様が全て教えてくれるんだそうだ。
So wait, so she got plastic surgery to look like Yuki? Is that? I don't know.
最初私はホームレスの子供が食べ物欲しさにくだらない作り話をしているんだと思ったんだよね。彼女の脳や記憶を調べてみると非常に興味深く素晴らしいことが分かった。
See, that sounds like something a bad guy says. Like, what you just said, that sounds like bad guy material. I know you are a bad guy, but that's like bad guy material to say, I examined her brain, and it was wonderful.
その神様というのはね。
And even as his face twisted in pain, he smiled proudly.
その神様というのは、
Oh!
なんと未来の2036年
Oh, who
の
would have thought?
私だったんだよ。
Dr. Luskin from the future! Porcelain skin! It's still there!
あんたは本当のマッドサイエンティストだ。
Suddenly, I heard a siren down below. Oh. That does make me feel uneasy. Just hearing the sound made me feel uneasy. It's like a piano key, but like off tune or something. I'd never heard a sound like it before.